Hey everybody, it's time for This Week in Clark County Real Estate. Don't bail before you see this week's stat of the week. It might shock you. Every week I'm comparing some of the most important real estate market stats in Clark County, Washington to give you a chance to get a feel for what's happening in the market. But more importantly, we like to go with the why behind what's happening with some of the numbers so that you can be better educated in your buying or selling decisions. And as we always say, whether you're buying or selling, you probably know somebody who is, so please feel free to share this with them, forward it along to them, tell them about it. And we've got a shorter version on Instagram as well, so you can check that out if you want. All right, let's dive right into the numbers. Starting in the upper left with new listings, they're up 23 new homes over last week, which equals an increase of 9.5%. Overall, the number of listings are still sitting around 2 months or so, just a tick over 2 months, which is lower than what we'd like to see. We always say that a healthy real estate market has between 4 to 6 months of inventory, which is where we'd like to get. So we're still sitting way below where we should be on total listings. All right, pending sales are up slightly, essentially no movement at all, though, just a 0.2% jump up. So from 884 pending to 886. So really not any movement there, essentially flat. All right, let's move on to closed sales. Closed sales are up 17, which equals 18.1%. Why? I think most of that is just because of that little bit of a spike we had back in early March with new listings, which then obviously 4 to 6 weeks later leads to some more closed sale activity. So I think that's primarily what's driving that. Okay, if you watched last week's episode, you remember that time on the market, also known as days on market, DOM, in the real estate world, that was our stat of the week last week for the second consecutive week. And this week, it's our stat of the week again as well. Third consecutive week, but not for the reasons that you might think. Primarily before, it was our stat of the week because the number of days on the market was trending down, which is kind of the equivalent of the market heating up. The less time it takes for a house to be on the market before it goes from active to pending, that would indicate that the market's getting hotter, right? And that's what was happening. All those days were coming down. It was dropping down significantly. Well, this time it's flipped and gone the other direction from 31 days on the market up to 48 days on the market, which is an increase, or a 54.8% increase. Now, why is that happening? Honestly, would have to really dive into it, but what tends to happen is what we see is that the new construction skews things in the wrong direction, because a new construction home might come onto the RMLS and it might sit there. It's not necessarily a home that you're going to go write an offer on right away, but you know that it's there and it is showing up as an active listing. And those can sit for quite a bit longer before they go pending. So those can sometimes skew those numbers. Let's take a look at that next week and see what happens and if it continues to go in that direction. All right. Hey, average sales price, though, also a big mover this week from last week. Average sales price up $30,700 from where it was last week at $597,500 up to $628,200, which is a 5.1% increase. That's a pretty big jump. Most of the jumps historically have been just a little bit. Like, as an example, last week's jump from the week prior was an $1,100 jump week over week. This is a $30,000 jump. Big jump. Let's keep an eye on that one. In fact, that's kind of one of the ones I want to really keep a close eye on for next week. How about our mortgage interest rates as we jump ahead a little bit? Mortgage interest rates, talking to one of my lender friends on Friday, conventional 30-year fixed sitting around 7.25%, FHA and VA sitting at around 6.75%. So rates are up from where we were last week. All right, and then from our friends at WFG and Altos, we wrap up this week's edition of This Week in Clark County Real Estate with the average monthly rent. Average monthly rent is $23.99 a month. So as we say, if you can buy and you can afford that in your budget, you should really take a look at it, because at $2,400 a month, you're paying somebody else's mortgage for them. You'd rather be paying your own mortgage, wouldn't you? I think you probably would. All right, and before we wrap up this week's episode, I want to add a little nugget of real estate wisdom, something just to help you out. If you are getting ready to list your home for sale, please do me and all of my real estate friends a big favor. Would you please make sure that you protect all your valuable belongings? Okay, we always want to assume best intent in people, and we want to assume that nobody would take anything from your home when the house is listed for sale and you've got strangers going through your home. Unfortunately, that does happen from time to time. So we want to tell you, lock up all your valuables, your jewelry, your special keepsakes, the things that really matter to you, your, 25-year-old collection of used dental floss. Hey, I've seen weirder things. But also put away your guns, put away your ammunition, put away all of that stuff as well. Make sure that that's all locked up as well, so that you keep yourself and everybody else safe as well around you. So it is kind of an interesting time in the world. So just protect yourself and be careful. That's all we're saying. That's all we're saying. All right. Hey, thanks for checking out This Week in Clark County Real Estate, brought to you by the Elevate Real Estate Group, powered by Windermere Northwest Living. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And as I said in the beginning, forward on to anybody that you know that might be buying or selling, and they can find this very useful. Thanks, everybody. Take care. God bless.